Hello YouTube, it's your boy B3 back, another kicking movie reaction review. Today's movie reaction review is over yet another Ultraman film, Ultraman Saga! Yeah, Ultraman Saga. It's another Ultraman Zero movie. I know I've basically just been doing Ultraman Zero movies, but Ultraman Zero is a great Ultraman, easily one of my favorites. But, in this film, a mysterious voice calls out to Ultraman Zero. It never reveals who the voice was, which is bad filmmaking, to be completely honest. But I'm gonna assume it was Ultraman Dyna. So, but like, almost every human's been abducted on the Earth, and the Earth Defense Force, made up of these extremely hot, badass women. Like, wow, they are all my type. Every single fucking one of them. Woo! They're all raising this group of kids that was also left on the planet, but whenever they go out, monsters attack because Alien Bat has dropped off a bunch of monsters on the planet, like Earthtron, who they fight, but Ultraman Cosmos shows up to fight, not Cosmos, Dyna. Dyna fights Earthtron, that's my bad. That was about Dyna's appearance in their world. And then we see Ultraman Zero fighting a bunch of Legionoids, types A and B. And then he hears that voice and he goes there, and the Ultra Brothers are like, oh, Zero's going to another dimension again. Because you know that shield thing Zero got in the Revenge of Belial movie gives him the power to travel dimensions at will without using too much energy. Then there's this like futuristic civilization on Mars in another dimension who is all like celebrating Ultraman Dyna's 15th anniversary. Well, not really celebrating, more like honoring his 15th anniversary of him sacrificing himself to save their civilization. And then all these spaceships attack them, and their new hotshot pilot, who's real cocky, goes out to fight him by himself without authorization, and he gets abducted and taken to another dimension's Earth, where Ultraman Zero sees that there's no humans on the planet, so he's fighting all of these drones from Alien Bat's ship, but he's not really paying much attention to Collateral because Ultraman Zero is also kind of a cocky guy. But, I mean, there were no humans, so you can kind of understand why he wasn't paying as much attention. But then he sees some debris hurtling towards a lone kid who really shouldn't be there, and the hotshot pilot sacrifices himself to save the kid, so Ultraman Zero gives him his life force. And then Gubira, I think is the name of the monster, that fish monster with the drill nose from the original Ultraman, was also an orb, I think. It shows up to fight them. And Ultraman Zero's like, hey, I've given you my power, transform into me. And then the hotshot refuses to transform into Ultraman. And it's actually kind of a funny scene, them running from the monster, and they're like running on his drill nose while it spins. And it explains that he has those kind of superhuman abilities because Ultraman is inside him, so it's not completely weird. But it's like, this movie has a couple real comedic scenes that kind of distract you from the fact that the human race is pretty much gone. But then Cosmos shows up and he uses his healing on Gubira, because you know Cosmos is all about healing the monsters and finding an understanding with them because of his society where he lives, where they're at peace with monsters. So the Earth Defense Force takes them back to their base, introducing all these kids, and they find out about Zetton. Alien Bat's like mocking him, and he sends Gubira and Gomez from Ultra Q, the one that was made out of the Godzilla outfit, to fight them. And then Zero tricks his new host into transforming, but since this new host is really resistant and doesn't want to transform, Ultraman Zero is like only 10 or 12 feet tall. So Ultraman Zero tries to fight these monsters, and he's real tiny, and it's also another real comedic scene. But Cosmos heals the monsters, and Alien Bat's like, haha, fuck you. So Bat destroys the monsters and kind of feeds their essence to his Zetton. And we find out that Ultraman Dyna used to be part of this Earth Defense Forces team. He sacrificed himself in this world as well to try to stop Zetton from awakening and all this stuff. And then Giganto Zetton awakens, and they see this frozen in stone Ultraman Dyna beneath him. And they're all like, what? What's Dyna doing in there? But it turns out this kid who's traumatized and can't speak anymore, and the leader of the defense force actually saw him sacrifice himself and do all that stuff. But then Cosmos transforms and kind of gets his butt whooped. And it shows flashbacks of the hotshot pilot. And it turns out he lost his family when Ultraman saved the world from a monster. But he never felt like Ultraman saved him because he still lost his parents. And that's why he refused to transform into Ultraman. And then we find out this Earth Defense Force is actually a sham. The kids came to the building looking for the Earth Defense Force, and only one of them was a reserve member for the Earth Defense Force, which is why the children thought they were the Earth Defense Force, because they saw this woman in the uniform. So all these women, a couple mechanics, some office workers, a nurse, all pretended to be the Earth Defense Force so these children would feel safe. Which is actually really nice, and was a completely unexpected reveal to me. I've seen this movie a couple times. I saw it once in around 2011, 2012 when it came out, when it was first subbed. And then I rewatched it to do this video. And because I wanted to rewatch all these Ultraman movies anyways. I'm just going through and rewatching all my Ultraman movies. But yeah, so as I said, Giganto Zetton hatched, or came out of its thing or whatever, and then the host of Zero finally decides to work with him, so he and Cosmos go to fight Giganto Zetton while the traumatized kid is trying to find Dinah's light because he saw it separate from Dinah when they were when Dinah sacrificed himself. So they find Dinah's light, they revive Dinah almost at the cost of the leader's life, and the three Ultramen together defeat Giganto Zetton. But it turns out that was just kind of like a, what did he call it? Alien Bat called it a neo-fetus. Which sounded funny to me. But then Bat uses the remains of the neo-fetus and all this fear and stuff, and the energy of all the humans he abducted or whatever, to create Hyper Zetton, which is a very famous form of Zetton. Probably my favorite form of Zetton. I love the wings on it and stuff. It doesn't have the wings at this point in the film. But I really love Hyper Zetton. I got his figure at G-Fest one year. Absolutely beautiful figure, beautiful character. Really strong, can teleport, and he kicks all the Ultras' asses. Kicks all their asses. And then all the Ultras, after they power down, use reserve energy to fuse together into Ultraman Saga, this big crystalline Ultraman. And then he has a pretty good fight with Hyper Zetton. Hyper Zetton grows wings, and they all fly off, and they're teleporting everywhere, fighting each other. And it's not as good as I remember it. It's still a good fight, but I remembered it way cooler and much more fast-paced than it actually was. But eventually they defeat Hyper Zetton and Alien Bat, because Alien Bat's consciousness is in Hyper Zetton. And then all the humans return to Earth, and the children get all their parents back, blah, blah, blah. And there's an after-credit scene where Ultraman Zero says goodbye and goes back to his home universe, and it's all good and fun. So if you like Ultraman, this is a fun Ultraman film. There are better Ultraman films, like Ultraman the Next and Mega Monster Battle, Ultra Galaxy Legends, the movie. But this is still a good film. It's a fun film. When you're watching these, you gotta remember the target audience is children. You gotta always keep that in mind, because they aren't gonna be super mature and everything, except Ultraman the Next. But that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And I'll be seeing you all next time.